Hey guys, on a sunny, windy day in Paulden, Arizona, I am here to talk about Gunsite. So today I finished day one of Defensive Pistol 250. If you guys don't know already, Gunsite is a premier training school that is designed for special force military in general, law enforcement, and most of all the law-abiding citizen. They teach defensive pistol courses, carbine courses, long rifle, and tactical operation courses. This school is world renowned. People from all over the place come here. I got people from different parts of the state that come out here. They came out here today. I got people from Tennessee, Texas, Arizonans, of course. I got 4 from California. I got a total of about 50 people in my class, maybe about 45. I got people from Nebraska, Oregon, you name it. Every walk of life seems to come out here to Paulden, Arizona, to Gunsite, because this is known as the world-renowned training facility for firearms. So today's video is going to be all about what day one of the course is, and then I'll do day 2, 3, 4, 5. The whole reasoning for me doing this video is because before I came out to Gunsite, there was only about 1 or 2 reviews on YouTube, and I want to do an honest review of the course, something a little bit more complete. That's it. Now, there's been articles written about Gunsite, and those articles are from decades ago, but I want to do something recent. I want you guys to know what you're up against and how this school can benefit you, and this is coming from my perspective. So hopefully you guys will like this review that I'm doing on Gunsite. Okay, we're inside the house now. There's less wind and there's less sunshine. Thank you for bearing with me with that poor audio quality. Thank you. To begin, I want to talk about my training, and in no way am I trying to put myself up here, but I think in order for you to view me as credible, I think you have to understand what type of training and experiences that I have, in particular the training. Okay. Now, I've been training more or less at the age of 17, 18 years old. I'm 40 years old right now. So that's over 20 years of firearms experience. But I'm going to be honest with you. When somebody, even me, if I tell you that I have 20 years or 30 years or 50 years of firearms experience, that is not totally accurate, because we need to know, have you been training every single day, 365 days out of the year? Or is this just maybe once or twice a month, or maybe once or twice every year, maybe once every other year? So somebody could be training once every 6 months and have started when they were younger, and they could totally have 70, 80 years of firearms experience. Okay, but that's not the same as somebody that would train every single day for 5 years in a row. They're not on the same level. So let's throw that out of the table. Now, I was trained by my stepfather. He's a combat Marine. He's a veteran from the Vietnam War, and he taught me the fundamentals. And this is before I received any type of formal training. And he trained me very, very well. After that, I went to the Basic Police Academy, and I received roughly about 90 to 100 hours of training for firearms, just firearms related training. After that, I progressed to the NRA Law Enforcement School, and that was about a 40-hour course, and I specialized in handguns and concealed weapons, especially drawing from a concealed garment. But the main focus was law enforcement, security, and it was 40 hours, more or less. I think may have been 45 hours. But the focus was security and law enforcement. I also received 16 hours, more or less. I mean, it could be 8 hours of classroom plus an additional 4 on the range for the BSIS, the Bureau of Security Investigative Services. Those of you who are private security officers in the state of California, you have to get two days worth of training. So I have that level of training. I also have 80 hours of pistol, shotgun, and rifle instructor level training. And by the way, the NRA school was instructor level training. This 80 hours of training that I just explained to you, that's also instructor training, instructor level training. That's on the post level. That's Peace Officer Standards of Training. After that course, I attended the Red Dot Pistol Instructor course. Okay, that is a 3-day course. Okay, 3-day course, and it's held by Primal Defense. Now, on top of that, I'm assigned, right now I'm an off-duty police officer, and I'm assigned to, number one, the academy to the range, where I teach periodically. And really, I'm a pistol coach over there at the Basic Police Academy in my area. On top of that, I am a assistant range master for my department. Okay, and we qualify quarterly. So that's my firearms training experience. You have that. I have all this experience. I have all this training, and now I'm taking Gunsite Pistol 250 course. Let's talk about cost. So this course cost roughly about $2,000. I purchased an ammo pack for about $300. So already $2,300. Don't panic right now. This course is going to be so much worth it. Right now, ammo is, you're looking for 9mm ammo, you're looking at an easy 70 cents a round, sometimes $1 a round. But I was able to purchase one box of 50 rounds, factory loaded ammunition for 50 rounds for only $18 each. You see, double tap ammunition really hooked up Gunsite. And I think that they might end up being an exclusive vendor for them. So whenever you see double tap ammunition, they're doing the right thing. They're supplying ammunition to the school. Keep buying from them if you haven't already. Let's move on. You're gonna have to pay for lodging. Lodging is kind of cheap out here. I was able to rent a house for about $120 a night. I use Airbnb. You could stay in Chino Valley. You could stay in Prescott. It looks like it's Prescott, but Arizonians pronounce it Prescott. So it's Prescott. You rent a house in Paulden, Chino Valley, Prescott. Okay. If you don't want to rent a house, you could rent a hotel. Maybe you want to share a house with other people, a hotel. You could do that. There's something called the bunk house, and that is almost at the doorstep of the entrance of Gunsite. And there's like 10 or 12 different rooms. You could stay there, but you're not renting the house. You're actually renting the room. And for me, that's a little bit awkward. I enjoy my privacy, and I'm not going to bunk with other people. So I have this whole house to myself. So lodging is fairly cheap out here in Arizona. Again, you're looking at maybe a house, 120, 130, and a hotel, maybe about half that price. What I like about the houses is you can cook, and you're going to save so much more money if you're able to cook or prepare your own food in your own rented house when you compare that going out. You're going to have to bring your lunch to Gunsite during the break, or they have a caterer over there. I prefer the caterer. It's a lot easier than packing a lunch, but if you want to save money, by all means do that. Right now I'm paying $13, and these prices I'm giving you, they're going to change, obviously. This is for 2021, so I paid $13. Okay. What type of gun should you bring to Gunsite? Well, the instructors are carrying all kinds of guns. I've seen them with Glocks. I've seen them with 1911 style handguns. One I saw with a CZ handgun. In the class, I saw a good 35% carrying 1911s, Glocks, and what's the other? Smith & Wesson, you name it. Everybody's carrying something different. But I saw a good handful of 1911s. Okay, get a service quality handgun, a handgun that is meant for duty, typically law enforcement or security. Now you might be saying, hey, well, I don't work security or law enforcement. What kind of gun? I mean, do I have to get a duty service one, a duty or a service type of weapon? That's recommended, okay? Especially when you go to this course, because you're gonna have to have a holster that's able to retain the gun. And many times these small little handguns that we buy that are made for concealed carry, maybe to put in a pocket, there's no holster for that, and they require you to have a holster, okay? Now, you might be able to rent a gun over here. You have to check on that, okay? It's up to you, but I recommend you bring the gun that you might end up fighting with one day, okay? Now, be careful if you have a handgun that has a service disconnector with the magazine. Now, what that means is if you take the magazine out, you're not able to fire the gun. And the problem with that is on day one, we do a drill where we load the magazine up, okay? We load it up, we dry fire, and then we drop the magazine, or we take the magazine out, and we could do another drill where we put in a live round in the magazine. We put we seat the magazine in the magazine well. We manipulate the slide backwards so we can chamber around, and then we fire one round. The problem, if you have a magazine disconnector, okay, you cannot fire the magazine. You can't fire the magazine. You can't fire the gun. Okay, you cannot fire the gun without the magazine being connected. So in that case, you're gonna have to get with the instructor, and they're gonna have to do something special with you, and most likely they'll just probably load you up with some dummy rounds. But there's a little bit more process. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Definitely want to get a hold of the Gunsite staff before bringing guns that have a disconnector on it. And I really don't think it'd be an issue, but it could. But you do need some additional instruction. And I want to make it clear that I am not a Gunsite instructor. I don't intend on working there. Everything that I say, take it with a grain of salt. It just to prepare you for the course. But really the real preparation comes from the real instructors that are really there training, and then from the instructions that you get through email before you attend the class. Okay, bring a notebook. They provide you with a Gunsite, it looks like a handbook, but some of the things that they went over and some of the drills, they're not even in the handbook. So bring a notepad and a pen and paper for sure. Okay. Attend with the willingness to learn something new. I've attended a number of training courses, but in this course, I learned so much new things that I feel genuinely that my money is where it was valued in this class. Okay, and I'm only on day one. I've been shooting a lot, and this by far is an awesome course. The students here are they're so intrigued, and they want to learn so bad. They're just thriving for that hunger of knowledge, that thirst for knowledge, that hunger for knowledge. That very rarely do you see anyone on their cell phones. Okay, I've been to a lot of law enforcement classes, and they're texting away and smiling and not paying attention. I've been to security classes doing the same thing. Actually, with law enforcement classes, they're more on their phone than with security classes. But you look around and everybody is watching the instructors. They paid a lot of money, and these learners are good people. They want to learn. We drive up to the academy grounds or the training school, nice American flag. You want to show up. I have to show up at 7:30 in the morning for registration. Okay, make sure you show up on time. I recommend you get there at 7:15 or even 7 o'clock. Okay, so you find a good place to park, because it was kind of crowded because we had all different types of schools going on at once. There's the 350 course, there's a high precision rifle course, and the whole range was filled, and you might not find a good place to park. So you definitely want to show up early. So when you go there, you're going to be in day one in the classroom doing your registration paperwork, and that's going to take about 30 minutes. You're going to fill out all the waivers. Before you do that, you're going to sit wherever you're assigned to. And I sat in the back because my last name is with an S. Okay, so they put me on the back, but obviously I'm almost sure that it's going to change. we had a total of about 45, maybe about 50 students in the course. And looking around, the average age for the students in that course is about 47 years old. There were some 20-year-olds in there. I mean, there's a very few, but the average age was mid 40s to mid 50s, somewhere in there. There's 60-year-olds in there. Majority of people in there are middle-aged. Okay, that does not mean that you're going to get middle-aged training at all. Okay, it just shows you that these people at this age value training so much that they're willing to come from all kinds of places in the United States. I mean, Tennessee, come on, that's far. We had one from New York driving in. Okay, that's the type of students that will be there. So you go in there, you do your registration, do the waiver, and then you hand it in. And the hardest thing about all this paperwork is the food. You know, choosing what you're gonna pick, picking all the right boxes. And obviously you have to pay for that. And it's $13 a day. It came out to 60 something, and obviously that price is gonna change. Okay. So the day one instruction begins with the instructors introducing themselves. Now, our instructor, our main instructor, one of them was Freddie. Okay, now, Freddie is a combat Marine, and if you go on his profile on the Gunsite website, you're gonna be impressed. Okay, I've been through a lot of schools, but when you see the cadre of instructors, and they won't tell you what their experiences in detail, you're gonna have to look it up online. I'm an instructor and I'm impressed. Okay, military experience, law enforcement experience. Colonel Jeff Cooper, he founded the academy, and he handpicked his instructors based on his instructors' experience seeing the elephant. Okay, seeing the elephant. They've been out there in the real world and they saw something. Okay, and because of that, and because they interview well, they produce accurate shot placements, good learners, good mentors, and based on them seeing the elephant, he chooses them as instructors. So they didn't say they didn't say what exactly their experience was or is, but they have their bio on the website. And a couple of these instructors are actually on the Penteo Productions videos. If you don't know about Penteo Production, look them up on YouTube. They only pick the best instructors. And Gunsite is often featured on their videos, and a lot of their instructors are featured on their videos. Okay, so when I go somewhere to train, I want to know where this instructor who this instructor has trained under. Okay, when I find out that this person went to Gunsite, okay, and trained under a certain cadre of instructors, that puts the instructor up to here. If he or she can transition what he or she learned in training and transition that training to me as a learner, if that makes sense. So day one, realize that you're not going to shoot right away. Okay, the class starts at 8, but you got to be there at 7:30, and the actual rounds were fired at around 11 o'clock. So the first thing that we did is we had a safety brief. Okay, and that safety brief covered the 4 safety rules that Gunsite has posted all over the place. See, as soon as you roll into the grounds of the Gunsite, you have rule number 1, and then you drive a little bit further, rule number 2, and then rule number 3, and then rule number 4. When you leave, you see the rules again. When you go to the bathroom, okay, when you go to the bathroom, there's signs that say what the rules are. When you walk into the classroom, it says what the 4 safety rules are. So when you leave Gunsite, you're gonna know what they all are. So safety brief is really important, and it's not your typical brief. Point your gun in a safe direction. Don't point it at nothing that you do not intend to destroy. Keep your finger off the trigger until you intend to shoot. It's a little bit more than that. They go into more detail. They show you photographs of people who have flagged others. They tell you stories about some students who have left Gunsite, who they're training at home, because they do give you some homework, and I'll talk about that in a second. They go to their hotel and they practice a quick draw, and then in one occasion, one student shot the other in the heart and he passed away. He died, and he violated one of the fundamental rules of Gunsite, okay? Do not point your firearm at something unless you're willing to destroy it, okay? And they also did not assume that all firearms are loaded. That's another one of the safety rules that Gunsite has, okay? Now, as for the level of experience, shooters, obviously military, they're always going to have some experience. Law enforcement, as for the legally responsible citizen, we had one girl in there, and she never shot a gun before at all. So hopefully this is a sign of encouragement to you who have never shot a gun. The instructors are very, very patient, and they work with this girl, and it's just the first day, and I saw where she hit, and she hit right on where she wanted to. She's having significant difficulties handling the gun, manipulating it, marksmanship wise, a little bit of anticipation of recoil, which is common with new shooters, but they're working with her. And you're not expected, well, let me talk about that. You're not expected to show up to Gunsite, the 250 course, with knowing all it is that you need to know for basic fundamentals for handguns, okay? You're not expected to know that. They will work with you. Those of you who never fired a gun, I recommend that you take Gunsite 250. This is not just a regular basic course. This is a basic fundamental course, and fundamentals are not always basic. So it doesn't matter if you are a top-level shooter or you never shot a gun, this course is for you. The Gunsite 250 course is for you. What I like about this, if you never shot a gun before, or maybe you have very limited training or experience, is they teach you the fundamentals. You see, I'm lucky I had a good trainer, but some people have people who shouldn't even be training others. And what ends up happening is you get so ingrained in what you think is a skill set, and it's really faulty gun handling behavior that you have learned from somebody who shouldn't be teaching others. Okay, you learn these bad habits that you can't get over. So that's why I recommend that if you never shot a gun, show up to the 250 course. Okay, this course is going to help you establish good and solid habits. After we had our safety brief, we headed down to the North Range, and our group split. So in my group, and again, my exact number for the class count is a little bit off. So I know when you do your calculations, there might be some things that just don't add up, but this is just more or less an estimate. So in my group, we had 18 people, 18 shooters, and on the firing line, every time we had about 9. So we had 9 on the line. We had 2 coaches and 1 range master. The range master's job is to oversee the entire range operation at that particular range, make sure everybody is handling their firearms safe. The first day, okay, now one guy screwed it up because the instructor said to never unholster your firearm until you're downrange. Well, this guy went to the ammunition loading area, the shed, and walked out with a gun in his hand. And the range master saw that immediately, said, hey, stop. You're going to holster that gun. Okay, snap the hood on the gun and come out over here. Don't do that again. And he was stern and firm about it. This person didn't listen to the safety brief, obviously. So you're going to be divided. It's 1 range master, 2 coaches, okay, with our firing line of 9 people. What that basically amounts to is 1 coach for every 3 students on the firing line. That's actually not too bad. However, that includes the range master. So the range master has the safety portion. Well, actually, everybody is a safety officer, but the range master oversees the total operation that's going on at that time. Plus, he dual tasked and was the coach. So I would have, my honest opinion, I would have preferred for there to be 3 coaches and 1 range master overseeing the range operation. But I'm fine. I'm totally fine with the arrangement that they had. So the next question is, are they going to correct me if I'm doing something wrong? Well, I have a lot of firearms training experience, I thought, but these guys humbled me. Okay, my stance was off. I was not balanced. So they corrected me on that. They asked me about my red dot because I carry a red dot, and they asked me what distance do I sight it in at, and I didn't tell them I'm a red dot instructor. I'm humbling myself. Trust me. So I said 25 yards. That's what the instructors recommended. So I did it 25 yards, prone, sandbagged. Instructor says, hey, you know what? The recommendation is 15 yards. Okay, sir, thank you for the advice. Okay, you have to accept this advice. Well, you could accept it or you don't, but you still need to be respectful to the instructor. They're just trying to give their honest opinion based on their training and experience. Okay. So they'll inspect your guns, and you load them up, and the drills are designed to save ammunition. So you're gonna do some dry firing. Dry fire. It's gonna click. It's not gonna go bang. You're gonna align your sights right on target, and you're gonna concentrate on just pinning the trigger to the rear of the gun. Okay, so it's about trigger control, sight alignment. It's really about just going straight back. Okay, so you're pinning. I hate to say this as I guess for lack of better terms, you're pinning your finger to the back of your gun. So all I'm saying is you're just going straight back like this. Okay, they really emphasize trigger control. If your trigger control is off, the way your stance is off, they're going to correct you, okay? And they are very polite. Matter of fact, I double time. Those of you who have not been in the military or law enforcement, double time means you go a little bit faster. When you're at the range, you forget something, you better haul ass, you better run to where you need to and then run back. I did that, and they told me don't be doing that again. There's no need for that. So they corrected me. For the most part, they left me alone most of the time. Some people needed a little bit more attention. If you're hitting where you need to hit, then they will leave you alone. But I didn't want them to leave me alone. I wanted them to correct me as much as possible, because as a firearm instructor, there's really nobody correcting me. I have to depend on my fellow range masters on correcting me, and sometimes they're hesitant to do that because they think, hey, you went through all these training schools, that you're top notch and there's no need to correct you. But these instructors, so sometimes it's okay to go to these schools even if you're performing up here or you're an instructor, because these guys will tell you if you're doing something wrong, or they'll show you a better way, and you can either take it or you don't. Everything that they showed me today, I am going to take it, and I'm going to make some modifications to my shooting style. What I also like about it is I thought that my shooting style was the best, and then they showed me otherwise, and because of that, I feel very, very confident in my marksmanship. Very confident. Okay. So and again, we're just shooting one round, and then towards the middle of the live fire course, we shot controlled pairs. Okay, double tap. Okay, but it's not like you're out there boom, 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 and unloading the whole magazine. They're really, really conservative with ammunition, but dry fire is number one. And gun handling is also heavily enforced there. Good gun handling skills. So about 3:30 p.m. Oh, by the way, we broke at lunch at I think 12 o'clock, and we had to be back at noon. You cannot leave and go to McDonald's or Burger King or wherever you eat that fatty food. Okay, you're not gonna be back in time. Okay, this is the middle of nowhere. So you're back at 1 o'clock. When they say 1 o'clock, they mean like 12:58. Okay, they're starting their instruction. They start exactly on time. Okay, so you go back. You do some more dry fire drills, more controlled pair drills. And then around 3:30, we left. We went back down the hill or up the hill back to the classrooms, and we were given a gun maintenance and cleaning session by one of the gunsmiths. Now, mind you, Gunsite has 3 full-time gunsmiths. Okay, that says miles about the caliber of training and the cadre that they have. 3 full-time, you guys. If you have a problem with your gun, okay, they'll put on the radio, and this is a problem that the instructors can't fix. They'll call on the radio, hey, this person has a problem with the gun. Gunsmith will go over there, collect your firearm, give you a loaner, go back to the shop and fix whatever needs to be fixed. Obviously, they're going to charge you, I think it's like $65 an hour. That's going to obviously change. Maybe it's more by the time you watch the video. But they want you to have a fighting gun, something that works when you leave the classroom on day 5. Hopefully, the first day they give you something, they give you your gun back in a combat condition, okay, something that's ready for the fight. So that's another neat thing, that you actually have the gunsmith giving a little course on how to clean and maintain your weapon. It's a lot more briefer than I would have thought. I mean, I think he spent about 15-20 minutes, but that 15-20 minutes, I got my money's worth again. Okay, we left at 4:30. That's 16:30. Those of you that read military time, they give us a homework assignment. I haven't done that right now at this moment, but when I come back on video, I'm going to show you what the homework assignment is. And I'll tell you what it is. They want you to pull the trigger, or actually press the trigger 10 times straight to the back while having a empty casing or a dummy round planted right on the front sight. They want you to do that 10 times. Now, what they're trying to, what you try not to do is jerk the trigger, okay? If it's not a smooth trigger press, if you're not pinning something straight to the rear, just like this, that dummy round is gonna fall down. Okay, so you're gonna do it 10 times, and then you're gonna draw from the holster using a 5-count method that I'm gonna show you also in a minute. Whenever you're dry firing or practicing drills in a non-live fire environment, you need to really make sure that you have no live ammunition on you. If you're in the same room with it, put it as far away possible, maybe even put it in another room. But accidents can happen, and I don't even think it's an accident, it's a negligence when you fail to take responsibility for the safety of yourself and others. So I'm going to look at all my magazine pouches, and I have none here. My pockets, I have no ammunition, and in the gun, I have removed my ammunition source. There's nothing in the well of the gun. I'm going to put the slide back, okay? Look for anything in the chamber, nothing. I'm going to visually and physically inspect, and I'm clear. Put it back in the holster. So the founder of Gunsite, the late Jeff Cooper, believed in the principle of the modern technique. It's the modern technique. This is something he may have not invented, but he certainly ingrained this concept into all of the students that went through Gunsite, and all the students now are going through it. This involves 3 elements. Number 1, practical marksmanship. Number 2, gun handling. And number 3, mindset. The drill I'm about to show you is going to cover one element of the modern technique, and that is gun handling. And let's start. So Jeff Cooper, the Colonel Jeff Cooper, always thought that it was a good idea to put everything into steps. He thought that you should do no more than 4 or 5 steps. If you do that, people start forgetting. So if you have a 10-step process, a 10-count process, people are going to tend to forget. I can't remember a 10-step process, a 9-step, 8, but I could certainly remember a 4 and a 5, and I'm going to talk about that right now. So this technique, I'm going to show you this draw. We went over this for a little bit more than an hour because this is the bread and butter to modern pistol fighting, is the presentation. So just to be clear, I do not work for Gunsite, and that's my disclaimer. I am not one of their instructors. So everything that I show you in all my videos, all I'm doing is duplicating what I observed in class, what I perceived in class. Obviously, I won't be able to perfect the Gunsite instructor standard because I'm not a Gunsite instructor. So all I'm doing is duplicating what I have seen in class. So there could be some errors. I just want to show you what I experienced. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get in that fighting stance, okay? You're going to have that mindset that you're going to win, that it's a fight, because really gunfighting is about being involved in a fight. So you're going to keep your hands here just in case you need to block something, just in case you need to strike, whatnot. So you're going to have it right here. Now, count one. Simultaneously, you're going to bring your support hand. This is your support hand. You're going to bring it right here to your chest, and you're going to grip your gun. You're going to get that master grip. Your hand is going to go all the way as high as possible in the grip, okay? So you can control the recoil, okay? Your trigger finger, this is your trigger finger. You're not going to have it on the trigger guard. You're actually going to have it on the frame right here, the frame of the pistol. You don't want to have it up here on the slide. You're going to cause a malfunction. So right here, okay? So once again, count one begins up here, okay? Bring in your support hand while at the same time grabbing the grip of your gun, okay? Count two is you are going to clear the holster. You're going to draw. So just like this. Step three, you're going to invert the pistol and face it towards your target. Now, your target, actually your sights are actually somewhat aligned to your target. Okay, so from right here. So the next step, what you're going to do is, this is your support hand. You're going to mate your support hand with your dominant hand, just like this. At this point in time, if you have a safety, you're going to disengage the safety. You hear that? If you don't have a safety, don't worry about it. And you're actually going to place your finger on the trigger. Okay? Finger on the trigger. You're not applying any pressure. You're not taking out any slack. Okay? So you put your finger right on the trigger. And step five, you're going to, it's called the look move. Okay? You're going to align sights on target, and you are going to press the trigger. And what you're trying to do is press the trigger to the point that it feels like to you that you're touching the frame right here. They call this pinning the trigger. Okay, so straight back. You're going to press. Okay. Show you once again. Count one. Count two. Count three. Count four. Okay. Count five. Press, 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 press. Shots on target. So this is the 5-step count, draw, so to speak. Okay. What they also teach you to do is, after you get in a gunfight or some type of lethal force encounter, okay, what you're going to do is follow the subject down to the ground, if he's on the ground, okay, while maintaining your finger on the trigger. You're not applying any pressure, you're not removing any slack, you're just placing it on the trigger. You gotta be really careful. If this person is still a deadly threat, then you take the slack out and you press the trigger. Okay, notice I'm saying press, you're not squeezing the trigger. If you think about squeezing, you might actually squeeze the gun, and when you're squeezing the gun, you might actually shoot lower left, okay, if you're squeezing it. So don't squeeze the gun. You want to alienate your trigger finger, okay, from the rest of the movement of your whole hand, the rest of your hand, okay? So finger just flat on the trigger like this, and just a smooth break, okay? So they taught us to fall on the ground. They also taught us to scan for more threats. And what that entails is you keep the gun ready to go, but your finger's off the trigger because there hasn't been a new threat posed yet, but you're looking for more. So you're looking for some other threats to your left, to your right, up and down. They haven't taught us yet to look in back of us, and I'm almost sure they're going to do that next, but as of right now, they have not. Okay, but who knows? You know, maybe in the future. Once again, count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4, okay, count 5. Press, 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 press. Shots on target.